All right, welcome back, everybody, and it is my distinct pleasure to introduce Nikki Logsdon. So she and her husband are close supporters and partners in our charge efforts here at Cincinnati Children's from the get-go, and probably would have been running about the 8th annual Charge for Conor fundraising event. This year they've had to go virtual, but still carrying on that tradition and that work. So as we started up the agenda for this symposium this year, we asked Nikki if she'd come and say a few words and get us going on the Charge for Conor event.
Hello, everyone. As Dr. Chu said, my name is Nikki Logsdon. I think that I've met or seen a lot of you before, but if you don't know me, I've got 3 children. My oldest, Conor, was born with Charge syndrome in 2012 and passed away in 2014. So I'm born and raised here from Cincinnati, and we were living in Houston actually during my pregnancy and came back to Cincinnati for my brother's wedding with the intent to be able to relocate back here. And in the midst of all that, flying late in the pregnancy, found out that there were some complications and never went back to Texas. So it was quite a mixed blessing to have had that extra ultrasound and whatnot, but to land here in Cincinnati for his birth and to have my family around and the support was wonderful. It's also made me realize that growing up in Cincinnati, always having Cincinnati Children's in our backyard was something that we didn't realize what kind of resource we had, especially as I've met more charged families and I see the different types of access you have to care. I realize how fortunate we are to have what we do here and how fortuitous it was that we came back just 2.5 weeks before he was born so that he could be cared for by the Cincinnati team. So through Conor's life, he was very medically complex, as many of your children are, but had quite an infectious spirit, a determination, and just like an amazing demeanor, which was pretty impactful during his short life. And towards the second half of his life, we had become to be part of the charge community and really start to meet other charge families and learn about different resources. And my husband and I always thought, okay, this is part of our mission with Conor. We're going to better the charge community. We're going to help others. We're going to let his story, power us through to improve care, improve resources, etc. So upon his passing, obviously, initial grief kind of took over that. But very shortly after, I said to my husband, just because he's gone, we don't have to let go of that idea. And that's where we came up with the idea to start a nonprofit. The charge community actually started a GoFundMe when he was in the hospital and passed by someone that I've never met in person, a charge mom, and it raised a good bit of money. And we were fortunate that we didn't need to use those funds for his funeral. So we decided that was the perfect situation to use to start our nonprofit organization. So in the midst of doing all the paperwork and the legal side of starting a public charity, Conor's cardiologist called me and said, Nikki, I don't know if you'd be willing, but there is a board that I'd like you to be on at Children's. They're starting a charge center and they need a parent panel for some input. Of course, I immediately said yes. I mean, that just seemed like the perfect fit. So with that, I went to the first meeting, and that was actually the first time I had been back in the hospital since his passing. And I just remember being in awe as I sat there with some parents, and then this group of doctors, these experts who are already experts in charge, which is something that Cincinnati is very fortunate to have, and their passion for these kids, for our kids. But even more than that, just their willingness to listen. Like they just sat there for a long time and let parents talk, which charge parents can be pretty passionate, and they ask, what do we do well? What could we do better? What do you need? And we did that for quite a while, and that is how they kind of based the foundation of the Cincinnati Charge Center, which I think is why it's so successful and such an amazing resource. So about the time that they were probably rolling with that, we were involved a little bit more in the early stages. Now, they've got that down to a science, and they're continually perfecting it and getting other parent feedback and whatnot. But we started our nonprofit, which is called Charge for Conor. The main things that our goals are to support the Cincinnati Charge Center. Obviously, it's very close to our heart because we're so close to it, and we feel like it is such an advantage for children who can go through a system like that, who can have the doctors coordinated, whether they're getting all their care or they're just coming for an initial visit or they're following one specialty, it's still such a benefit. And we want to make sure that that center succeeds and grows. And hopefully there'll be more centers like that around the country that will just continue to support and improve the Charge community. So the Cincinnati Charge Center is a big focus of our efforts. Another one is the National Charge Syndrome Foundation, and that is just a wealth of resources for family between networking, between just different research that they are funding, different resources that they provide for parents. We feel pretty strongly to be connected to them, and they're great partners to be with. And through them, we have formed a scholarship program that helps sponsor families to go to the International Charge Conference that happens every other summer, because we feel like that experience is once in a lifetime, and it can be very life-changing for families to have access to all this different information about their child, no matter what stage they're in, all these experts on charge, but just as much to have the experience, the camaraderie of other families that are experiencing something similar to them. Children meeting other children with charge, because that's not something everyone has access to. So we feel pretty passionate about being able to provide scholarships so that it helps the financial burden of these families wanting to go to conference. And we're lucky that last conference we were able to sponsor, I think, 36 families. So we hope to continue to grow with that and expand on that. So that's the main things that we focus on now. We have 2 other upcoming projects that we really want to launch in the next few years. So I'll be excited to announce those when it happens. But to continue to support those 2 organizations as well as the individual families through scholarships is our current focus. The main way that we raise our money is through our annual fundraiser, which happens the end of September for Conor's birthday, and then an online fundraiser that we do in January around the time of his passing. Obviously, this year we are not able to host our event, which we're really sad about, because it's a very fun, energetic, a lot of different activities going on that involves a lot of different parts of our community. And we always kind of call it Conor's birthday party. So we're disappointed that that can't happen this year, but we have formed a virtual event instead so that we can continue to celebrate his birthday, spread awareness for Charge, and raise money for these organizations that we love so much. So tomorrow is actually our virtual event. I know a lot of Charge families have signed up. It's called the Cheer for Charge virtual event, and it's all online. People registered, and with that, you got entered into raffles and received a t-shirt. And then the goal is tomorrow, everyone to post things on social media of a way that they spread cheer. That can be holding a sign that says something about Charge syndrome. It can be your family doing something fun. You could be doing an act of kindness for someone else, just something positive, because we feel like if there's anything 2020 needs, it's some more positive influence, and certainly on social media. So whether you signed up and registered for our event, if you did, thank you, that's great. If you didn't, we still really encourage you to participate. No, you might not have the shirt or you might not be in the raffles, but you can post any type of image that spreads cheer. So basically anything that makes you happy, because others seeing that's gonna make them happy. And I think that a lot of the supporters, we have never had the pleasure of knowing Conor, and they may not have met a child with Charge syndrome. So we invite all the families to post, because when they can see the people that they're directly impacting and they can put a face with the cause, I think that they feel so good about continuing to donate and helping us grow. So we invite anyone to do that, to tag Charge for Conor on Facebook or Instagram, or use our hashtag Charge for Conor, just so that it shows up. But just the main goal of spreading positivity and bringing awareness to Charge while we raise money for these organizations that we love. So if anyone has any questions about us, you can look us up. Our website's www.chargeforconor.org, or you can reach out to me. On the website is my email, my phone number, or if you're just coming to Cincinnati and you have any questions, although I might not be as in the loop with the current care, being that my son isn't here, I certainly can help you get in touch with someone or answer questions about the area. So we invite you to follow us, look up our organization, and kind of join our cause.
Thanks so much, Nikki. And I can't thank you enough on behalf of the Charge Center program as well for all that you've done for us, your guidance, your advice, this personal insights that you have on things. And like she said, most of you guys have crossed paths with her at some point. She's been an incredible force in this Charge community, and just can't thank you enough. And then good luck tomorrow with your event.
Thank you. We're
right.
very excited and we're thankful to be part of the team. So.
All right. Thanks, and we'll see you back in a little bit.